Hmm.
All right.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome
how's
to
it
the
going?
Cable Podcast.
Yep, we're here
We're not,
again.
we're not good at the official start stuff, eh?
We never did an official start, did we? Or maybe in the first few episodes we did.
Yeah.
But
That's what we needed Don for, to do the outro at the end.
yeah, he was pretty good at that.
Right now it's just like, I don't know, go to Facebook, check the, I don't know, fucking whatever.
Who cares? None of this shit matters at all.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun, right? No stress.
I know. So I didn't play much of anything this week, except Destiny 2. I don't really have too much to talk about beyond Destiny 2, unfortunately.
Let's talk about Destiny 2. I actually do have a couple other things I squeezed in yesterday and today.
Oh, good. That helps.
But I think the big thing about Destiny that I want to talk about was your first raid experience.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let's chat about it. It was cool. I mean, so there was multiple factors, multiple parts to that raid. There's some parts that weren't cool, but there's reasons for that. And the meat of it, like the first part that we did the lead up, was kind of how you described it, and the way you described it was sort of this group cooperative problem solving. Each person's kind of screwing up in different ways. Everyone's got their own individual issues they're trying to identify, and also as a group trying to coordinate between individual people. And that all happened. It was really cool. Like I liked how we started to do starting positions for the one part of the raid in spoilers, the bathhouse. It was really cool. I didn't mind getting it, like, even though we grinded it out, every time we tried again was fun. Like, yep. It was like, okay, let's just try to do a little better. And I would be like, okay, I'm going to try and do it a little better in my own way. Like, I have an idea to like tweak things a little bit.
Did you found that you got better each run?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd agree from what I saw from you too. It's cool.
Yeah. Little things to shave off a few more seconds to optimize things to help out other people while I'm doing the thing that I have to get done. And I hope the rest of the raid is like that. I mean, I really liked the crazy mayhem chaos, like main room thing that you have to do. That was kind of like, that's kind of what I expected.
The banners are kind of the hub.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected from the raid. Like that when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of what I thought. But then the bathhouse was a totally different. That isn't exactly what I expected, and I really liked the design that went.
Well, it's strange too, because I feel like, so we always go in completely blind, right? I know that there's so many people who have already finished the raid, and they look up strategies and burn through. Like, we're taking time, do it properly, do it blind. And we haven't fought a boss yet.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I suppose. I wasn't expecting there to be a lot of bosses.
That's usually what it is that you go in and it's just boss encounter after boss encounter. And so it's cool that, I mean, in that opening hub with the banners, there's no boss. In the bathhouse, there's no boss. And then from what little we did with the dogs and the handler thing, there's not really a boss there either.
Yeah, unless the dogs are the boss, but then even then.
But even if that's the case, then it's not a traditional boss like you would picture, right?
Yeah. So that was that all was gravy. That was amazing, and I got to use my weapon, and I got to show off my weapon. And apparently, it got nerfed. They released a patch, and there was some exploit with my weapon, that with the ward cliff coil specifically doing damage to some. I didn't read into it, but it was some nerf just to a specific environmental object that it was destroying too quickly. So they were like, yeah. So, but I got to use my rocket launcher a lot, and it was neat to see, like, bringing Keenan on and like trying to explain to him, like, seeing that other perspective, like from kind of the so-called Sherpaing experience, when you're like trying to guide someone else through what you already know how to do.
And how interesting is it to say, okay, we spent like 2 hours doing this last night, so here's the 20-second rundown. Okay, let's try.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
But I think it's always been the case where you learn by doing, right? See it, and then we'll fix up as we go. Like, I'd rather wipe 5 times while he figures it out, over like sit there and talk about it for 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah, there's only so much preamble you can give someone before it kind of like gets confusing, and you have to just see it, and then you build on that for sure. Like there's the good balance. You have to kind of balance it out. So the part that bothered me or I got frustrated was when we were doing the second part, and then, you know, people wanted to go get loot, which I didn't understand because I haven't played Destiny 1. So I didn't get that, like, oh, there's, and it turns out like the people that wanted to do that were right. But I didn't realize that, like, usually you finish a part and then you go and redeem your loot tokens.
No, you don't. And that's what people were, that's what we were so confused about, is because normally what happens is that you go into a raid, there's a boss, you kill the boss, and he drops a whole shit ton of loot. Everybody gets stuff
right then. Yes,
like it's like the end of a strike where you get a bunch of loot, right?
Yeah.
Where this time, when you kill a boss, you get nothing.
Yes,
and apparently you do get some stuff, but it's like 10-20% drop rate for one item.
Yes,
and I don't think anybody in our raid group got anything.
So it was really confusing. If one person had got something, then it would have been
low drop rates, or it's buggy or something. We continue.
Yeah. And then that was the other thing. We had that big bug happen, and that screwed everything up. Like that threw everybody off, and everyone was confused about whether it was supposed to be happening or not. And then by the time we figured out it was a bug, we had already kind of like figured something else out, which we would have figured out eventually. The switch thing, like apparently it's not a
we wouldn't have.
But because apparently it has to do with, like, if everyone's looking at a switch and you start playing with them, they only go down a certain, like, if you can trial and error it apparently pretty easily the way it works, because the switches will go down and stay if you do them in the right order.
Oh, okay.
So if you pick two, you know what I mean. So it wouldn't have been that hard. We would have brute forced it easily, but yeah, it just got everything. And then we were doing stuff that was sort of frustrating for me because I kept dying because I'm not used to that stuff.
Understandably. I think the problem is that not knowing the mechanics of the raid and what we were supposed to do. When no loot dropped, I figured, okay, well, we have keys though.
Yeah.
So why don't we go trade these keys in to get our loot?
Yeah.
And it turns out that that's not even fucking what you're supposed to do. Like, you can go get loot from the boxes, but it's just, you might get like purples or just some regular thing that you don't like. It's not raid loot, it's not anything special, it's just shit.
No. And it takes a while to get to it too. It's like, what's the point of making all this space, but then it doesn't seem like it's being used, except to hide a couple chests that have shitty drops in them.
And I don't really care about the chests anyways. Like, going forward in the future, all I see, and tell me whether you disagree, we haven't really talked about it as a raid group, but I want to go in, do like the progression stuff. I don't want to go to the, what do they call, underbelly, like I don't want to go there again.
Yeah,
like, I'm not interested.
Like, there was not a reward for it, and it was so frustrating. Like, and the other thing is those keys expire each week.
I figured they wouldn't. That's why I want to do it right away. I figured it probably would.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, you know, unless you're getting a 10, I don't know if those chests, they don't have a chance to drop raid loot. It seems bizarre that they don't.
I don't know, but when we opened it, nobody got any raid loot.
No one got it there too. Yeah.
So maybe there's a chance to, but nobody did. The other thing that I was thinking, it might be nice. So say if we do raid on the weekend, and then let's say like, either Sunday night, Monday night, we're trying to figure out like, what do you want to do? Maybe you're done nightfall, you finished everything for the week. I could see going in with like, 2 or 3 people to go collect chests. Just for something to do as kind of a separate from raid.
You could do it. I think you can do it with a few people. You don't need a whole group.
Yeah. To do that. So maybe I might do that with some extra time, but I don't know. The loot thing really soured me.
Yeah.
But I would like to get back to doing the actual like raid progression instead of.
Can I ask you, in the old raids, how much loot was there specific to the raid?
All of it. Like everything that dropped was raid specific.
Right, but like how much was there? Was there basically one loadout for each class? Like one set of armor for each class?
There was one set of armor for each class.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of guns.
And
the guns were all, so the idea is that you will want to get a full set of raid gear, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I don't like about this one too, I didn't read a ton, but I wanted to see if there was raid gear because I haven't seen anything and I haven't seen anybody wearing it.
Yes.
And so I looked up just very quickly, and people are disappointed that it's just more gear. Where the old ones were really cool because what they would do is they would have modifiers or they would have something on the gear that made the raid easier. Do you know what I mean? So let's say you would get a pair of raid boots, and if you have to carry the, I don't know, the sword or something, then you would have faster move speed while carrying the sword.
Oh, so right. So there was the raid was gated by a little bit, gated slightly by the loot.
No, not at all. It just made it easier to run.
Oh,
Like, and very, very slightly, like not
oh,
major, not any major differences, but there was raid gear with perks specific to raid, which I thought is interesting, right? Because it makes it, this is raid gear. This is for raid.
yeah, I guess so. Depends on how that. Yeah, I don't know that necessarily hearing that would grab me per se because it's so specifically has such a specific use.
But
But
by now, what are
yeah,
you going to do in Destiny now though? Nightfall and raid, no?
yeah.
So don't you want raid specific shit if that's what you're going to be doing most of the time when you play?
I just want. I don't care that it's raid. I don't care that it's focused specifically to be used in the raid. I mean,
You can use it anywhere. It would be,
Yeah.
so there would be 2 perks, and then on raid gear there's 3 perks. You get one extra
Oh,
thing
oh,
that's specific for raid, but
that's-
without taking away from the other things you have for it.
I mean, anything that maybe makes it a little bit like if it's already a challenge, great. Like if it makes the raid slightly less challenging, but it's already really challenging, so it's fun to get that. So you look forward to get those pieces of gear, so that it's a little easier. Like I like that. I like
I think,
a soft gating. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I understand. I think that you overestimate what the perks did though.
Yeah.
Like they would be like very, very slight
Right.
changes in, like, well, think about this, the gear that you get now where it says like increases energy weapon handling.
Yeah.
Do you notice it at all?
I never bothered with them because it didn't seem like something that would
Like it
matter.
doesn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's
What
kind of
is
the same.
I still don't know what handling is.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same kind of thing with the raid stuff where, yeah, it would say on the tooltip this, but you don't actually notice it.
All right.
It didn't make it really any easier. I mean, I'm sure it did in some slight way, but you didn't even notice it. It was more just the fact that you had it, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you interested in continuing kind of week to week though?
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I was a little bit like, I have to sort of reset my brain a little bit because I was so frustrated with that.
Yeah, I was too. It was bullshit.
Like, and then because we're going to be banging our heads against the wall for that one spot again, I know, for a little bit. So that'll be.
You mean the garden?
Yeah, the pleasure garden. So
Mhm.
that'll be tricky, and I'm not
Apparently,
sure.
apparently it's pretty buggy right now too, eh?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised since we experienced that huge bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
heard.
no,
I did
not
hear
from
that.
Just for the gardens, like apparently
spotted
there's a couple of times. That's it. People getting spotted on top of the towers when you shouldn't be seen by them up there.
Presumably, they hopefully will have. If they already patched the game for the friggin' Wardcliff coil exploit, apparently that was there. They should have fixed some of those bugs. Hopefully. So I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, but I mean, I hope there's a lot more to the raid. I assume there's like at least 2 more parts after that because we had like 25% of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would assume 4 encounters is probably par for the course.
And does that include the final encounter?
Probably.
Okay, so there's 3 things then.
Well, but the boss is like, it's not just run and shoot a thing. Like it's significantly harder than the other parts usually.
Sure.
Like the boss fights the end boss fights in raids are usually pretty intense.
Yeah. No, I am excited, and I mean, I think I'll be really even more excited when the next one comes out too. Like, I'm still interested in getting the expansion and doing all that stuff too. So,
and to be honest, it's strange. I love the aesthetic of the Leviathan.
mm-hmm.
I think the gold is cool. I don't really feel high stakes.
Mm.
You know, like with Wrath of the Machine, when you have the Siva crisis and all the stuff's happening in the story, and then you get to the end, and it's directly connected to story. Where this one, I'm like, who the fuck is Callus?
Yeah.
Like I have no connection to this. Like if you were going in and it was what's his face instead, Drog.
No, isn't it Gall?
Gall. I beat the game 3 times already. I have no idea what his name is. But so if you went in and it was Gall instead, would you not be more interested?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's not connected to story, and
No,
so
it sort of I think they mentioned him a couple times in some of the extra stuff, but that you see you get throughout the game. I think they mentioned him on one of the missions. They talked about another guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's not like you're not always going to see that. Maybe I don't know.
Sure.
So.
I started playing 2 games yesterday. I continued one of them today. I had a friend. Actually, I think he listens to the show, but I have a friend, Andrew, who we've been friends for 30 years this year. And as a friendly anniversary gift, he bought me a Steam card.
Oh yeah.
And so I used it to buy Cook Serve Delicious 2, which came out last week.
Nice.
It's awesome. It's really good. It is crazy complicated. You did play the first one?
Yeah, so it's more complicated than the first one.
Ridiculous complicated.
Is there online co-op?
There's local co-op.
Still.
Yeah, still though. Yeah, I want to check it out. The thing about Cook Serve Delicious 2 is that I can tell you right off the bat 2 things that are going to probably pique your interest. One of them is what do you call in a restaurant where you have like if you go to a fast food place and they have like the place where they keep French fries, like you make them in advance and then just pass them out as they come, right? Like the warming station or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So they have that. So say if you have a bunch of people, rush hour is coming up and you know that you're selling hot dogs, what you can do is throw a bunch of hot dogs on the barbecue. And so when they come in, you can just, instead of cooking the hot dog, you can just grab one and then start straight into like the second part of prep. Yeah. And so that's cool because even when you make it, it's got a freshness timer on it. And so you kind of have to use it within the time from when you make it.
But it extends the time in which you can have that hot dog like sitting there.
So they can sit there for longer than like you would make an order, say, right?
Yeah.
Like it would sit there like through lunch and into a bit of the afternoon.
Okay.
And then they would kind of expire if you don't use all of them.
Yeah.
But it makes serving people faster if you have them prepped.
Right.
And so you're kind of juggling orders and the warming station at the same time, which makes it a lot. There's a lot more in the first one, like the chore stuff. I don't know what to call it. Yeah. You had like toilet, throw the garbage, set rat traps. I think that was it, right?
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember.
I think there's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah.
So it's fun. The other thing that's cool is they have kind of like a scenario mode. So they have like the Cook Serve Delicious one, which from what I understand is like I don't know whether it's endless mode or what.
Yeah.
But then there's different restaurants that you can run as challenges.
Oh, yeah.
So the first one is called, I think, Mad Wieners or something. And so they sell like hot dogs and whatever. And so there's challenges that you have to try to beat in the day to unlock different like floor or tables or paintings. Like there's a lot more customization in terms of like
that
what
doesn't
the restaurant
affect the game, does it?
Nope.
Just visual.
Purely visual.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting. It's a lot. It's really a lot.
Wow.
like I don't know whether it's even too much yet, because you get overwhelmed very, very quickly. And I hope that it's, the more you play, you get used to it, and then you kind of continue from there, right?
Yeah. I played it for a while, and it just got stressful. And I was like, shit, like this is stressful, man. Like I don't know, like it. I don't know how much I enjoyed it, even though I enjoyed it. Like it's weird. It's a real like you got to be in the right mood for that kind of game.
No, it's interesting too because the first game on Steam, I was so stressed playing all the time. Where for iPad, I loved it, and it wasn't a stressor. Like it would bring me down. Like I would play it to chill.
Oh,
and that wasn't the case on here. I think because when you're trying to use keyboard and mouse and things are moving all over the place, your hands are moving faster. Where on a tablet, it's great because you can just tap, 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 and you're done. Like it feels more natural. Here's a bunch of stuff you have to tap really quick, rather than trying to like press keys, move the mouse at the same time. It just seems less frantic, I guess.
I think I played Cook Serve Delicious 1 just with the keyboard.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And it got crazy. Like I was like, oh, what key is this on? Like I just I have to remember that stuff. And so it was still stressful is what you're telling me?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh shit. I mean, that is the game. If it wasn't stressful, I don't know, like
What? But
it
it's
wouldn't
not
be.
stressful on iPad. I would say that I like it
Yeah,
better on
like
iPad.
a pro scheme. Yeah, you did. You said that before, I think.
So we'll see if there's like a tablet launch for it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But so that I dig, that was cool, and then I finally started into Yakuza Kiwami,
Oh yeah.
and it's good. It's exactly what you'd expect. So if you're into Yakuza, then play it, and if you're not, then don't. you know?
Yeah, and so this is the tell me again. This is like a prequel or a
No, this
remake
is this is a remake of the first
of
game.
the first one. Ah,
So
okay.
Yakuza Zero, which we talk about all the time on the show, is a prequel to this.
To this, yes, yes, yes. And this will be in, and this is in line with the same remake kind of thing, right? This one.
What do
This
you mean?
one's coming off of Zero, and it's in the same engine, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
much the same game with a different story,
Right, 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 right. Okay. Okay.
but it's good. It's a lot of fun. It's funny
Cool.
because it's so fragmented now, though, right? Because one, two came out on PS2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 on PS3.
Hmm.
Uh, Yakuza Zero then came out on PS4, and then re-release number one on PS4, and then Yakuza 6 comes out in the spring on PS4. And so
Mm.
there's this weird, like anybody who's just gotten into it has played 0 and 1, and then the next game that comes out is 5 games later.
Yeah,
you know?
that's weird. That's it's goofy. Oh, what
But
can
how
you
do you
do?
fix that, right? Because it's not easy to go back and play the PS2 ones. Like they're
No.
old, and they're
Yeah, a little
just
janky.
yeah. So what do you do, right? If somebody wants to catch up to the story, like you have to force yourself through it. I know there was an announcement made they were going to do Kiwami 2 and remake the second game.
Yeah, I would guess they're going to continue to do that. Well,
For all of them though?
I don't know. And then they'll finish. The last one will be like what, 4 or 3 or something?
Well, 3, 4, and
They
5
did
are
that.
3, 4, and 5 are for PS3.
Okay.
So maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But even still, like Yakuza 3 is a lot different from Yakuza 5.
All right.
But
And
still,
what's the time difference between all the games? Like, what period of time does this go across?
this one takes place, I want to say early 90s.
Oh, okay.
This one,
Hmm.
where I think 6 takes place like almost current day,
And then the first one's like what,
80
like
something.
80s? Oh, okay. Huh.
So it's cool because it's a quite a large spread.
Hmm.
Spoilers for Yakuza 5 and 6 coming up. Plug your ears for a couple seconds. Um, in the first game, you meet a little girl named Haruka, and she's like a major part of the story. Is like you're leading her around, and the story revolves around her and stuff.
Hmm.
And in 6, and I don't know, I'm not sure how old she is. I haven't played it for a while, and I haven't met her in Kiwami yet. But she's what, like 7 years old, 6 or 7 or something, maybe 8.
Mm.
Where the main story in Yakuza 6, again, spoilers coming right now. From what I understand, I haven't played it, but from what I understand, the story around 6, the story in 6 revolves around Haruka's child,
Oh.
and so she's like, you know, early 20s in
Mm.
6.
Mm.
So it's cool. It's fun,
Cool. Well,
like a soap opera, right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the impression I got hearing you
Sometimes
guys talk about it.
hard to keep track of like who works for who and who has a relationship with who, and it's good stuff and I love it. But it's funny because every time I play the game, I'm like, I know that guy, but I forget who he is, right? And then they'll start talking about him, like, oh, that guy, I know, right?
Oh, because it has been a while since you play, right? That makes
Well, if
sense.
there's like a year and a bit in between each game, then it's tough to sometimes hold on to that,
Hmm.
especially when you're an old man trying to remember anything.
You're not an old man,
No,
Jesus.
but do you find that you can't remember things as much?
I think it's not. It's a symptom of our times. It's not a symptom of my age.
You think so?
Yeah, because all of our knowledge is offloaded onto the internet now, so we get lazy and we don't try to keep things in our head anymore. We don't keep that practice. We
I
just
think
Google it.
I think part of it is that, but I think another part of it is that when you're a kid, everything's new and exciting.
Yeah, of course.
And so you hold on to it. And then right now, I'm like, whatever. It's just some bullshit Yakuza story. I like it and I enjoy it, but it's just consumable trash, right?
Those two statements.
No, but it's true. Like, what does it really matter?
I mean,
if I compare the story in Yakuza to, I don't know, pick something with some kind of significance.
You can't. I don't think you'll be able to. Like what?
One thing that's cool about this experience playing Yakuza Kiwami this time, I have two things that kind of add to the experience. One of them, Keenan lent me a book called Tokyo Vice, and it's about an American reporter named Jake Adelstein, I think.
Yeah.
Who went to Japan, and learned Japanese, and then became a reporter for a Japanese newspaper, and then got wrapped up in like Yakuza beat and stuff.
Crazy.
And so I've been reading that, and that's pretty interesting.
Does it enhance your?
This is a book review show now, but it I like the content. I hate his writing, and I don't think I like him as a person either.
Oh.
Like every chance he gets to talk about, like, I got my dick sucked, I fucked my girlfriend. You're like, okay, bud, you're cool. Like, I get it. I get it.
Weird.
It feels really strange.
Yeah.
But fine. So I do think it enhances the experience a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In that, so say for example, I was reading yesterday, actually, I was reading about these letters that you get when you are kicked out of like a Yakuza family.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is called Hamonjo, which is a letter that you get that says that you are no longer associated with the organization and nobody should give you shelter or do business with you anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
The other letter that you can get is called Zetsuenjo, which is one where you've betrayed the organization, you're no longer entitled to membership, and you're going to be hunted down.
No.
Right. So there's like one where you just kind of miscommunicated, and then the other one is, or discommunicated.
Excellent.
And then the other one is like, you're fucked. Right.
Shit. I thought I thought you were going to say the second one is you dishonored us and you have to kill yourself now. Commit Sudoku.
Yeah. Sudoku.
That joke kills me every
from
time.
What? What's that from?
I don't know. It's like
pretty good.
The internet.
I like it.
You never heard about commit Sudoku?
I like it. So there was a scene at the start of Kiwami where spoilers for the first like 20 minutes of Kiwami.
Spoiler cast.
But there's Kiryu ends up in jail at the start. And somebody comes and gives him a letter, and it's the first kind of letter that I explained. But for what he supposedly did, it should have been the other one.
Oh.
But when he got this one, he was like, "Oh, why this?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just from this guy." And so I don't think I would have gotten the significance of getting one instead of the other when the crime should have been the second one. It kind of adds a little bit more to it, right?
Well, the game then it would have, in order to explain that, it would have been difficult. They had to do these like it would have to do like obvious footnotes, like a glossary, right, and then use the actual word, which can be annoying unless it's implemented correctly. Like in-game dictionaries are a thing.
And I'm okay with that, but I would very, very strongly prefer not to put in don't put in actual shit, right? Like there's no reason to say Zetsu and Joe. Just I think the two words they used in the game, one was I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one was like complete banishment instead of
Well, you can do it in some cases, but in other cases, like I think this is an interesting topic. Like think of Final Fantasy 13. There was an in-game like glossary, and you pretty much had to rely on that thing if you want to know what the hell's going
for the story,
on. Even then, because all the crazy terms they're throwing at you.
Did we talk about it on the podcast, or was I talking about it to somebody? Because this week I was having this conversation.
We didn't talk about it, I don't think, on the podcast.
Probably when I was playing Destiny, chatting with Keenan, we were talking about actually Final Fantasy 13 and that glossary, and that. Spoilers for the end of 13-2. But do you care about this?
Who else is going to play 13-2? But anyway, I don't care.
It's awesome, dude. I really like 13-2 a lot.
I know you do.
So the end of 13.2, it pulls some shit where they start talking about like Bunavelza and like all the stuff that you've never heard of if you just play the game and don't look at the glossary.
Yeah.
And like I was like, what the fuck is like I had no, because I didn't look at the glossary stuff. I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I was killing myself laughing because just completely out of left field, completely changed the entire story. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Where
did you go and look and then figure it all out at that point in the game, or
I looked to see what the hell it was, and they're like, "Oh, you have to read the glossary and stuff." I was like, "I'm not doing that." That's the end.
See, I heard about a really cool implementation because I think certain games like RPGs are, depending on how they're done, are a big source of that problem. Like what's it called, Pillars of Eternity, that CRPG that was released. That was supposed to be the CRPG.
What does CRPG mean?
I'm trying to remember what it means actually too. It's like, I don't know what it stands for. I'd have to look it up, but it's just referring.
I'll look it up.
It's referring to those Baldur's Gate and all those type of turn-based D&D based RPGs, like the
CRPG stands for computer role-playing game.
Yeah, there you go. And so, like, Pillars of Eternity was supposed to be the second coming of those type of games, and I even have it. I played it for maybe 10, 12 hours, and part of the problem was there were so many terms and so many things and I couldn't find out what they were, and there was an in-game encyclopedia, but it wasn't easy enough to use. You know what I mean? Like, I could look it up, but it was constantly stopping to like having to do that all the time, and it got frustrating. But where I've seen it, and I don't know which game this is, but I was reading about one of the new ones coming out, and maybe it was one of the expansions for it, or maybe it was like the sequel, or maybe it was another CRPG that just came out. But the developers had put a thing where you just mouse over the keywords and you can quickly see what it is.
Well, and there's it's a great game where you hit either the touchpad or options or something just at that moment when it's happening. Like, hit this for more information about
Persona 5 now.
I don't remember. It just brings you straight to that entry. You read it, continue the game. Yeah. But I like the idea of mouse overing text too.
Yeah. Because then, like, all that work is wasted by the developers if you don't do, like, they make this whole story, but you can't reasonably keep up with it unless you're aware of what these terms mean, right? Because there's so much dialogue in some of these games, right? So, yeah, it was... I guess that also depends on good writing and bad writing too. Like, in certain books, like if the writing's good enough, even though there's a lot of new terms and stuff, you can sometimes keep up. But
you should be able to. That's what makes it good writing, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess books are a bit different because you're getting a lot of extra detail that's described in between, like, characters talking to each other. Whereas when you're playing a game, it's mostly conversationally dialogue that you're getting up.
And I think, and you've chosen to read a book when you choose a book. Like, you've chosen to read. For me, I know that I'm a pretty big proponent of playing video games instead of reading video games.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, next. Yeah, okay, I don't give a fuck. Let me do like the game, right?
You guys I remember this came up when speaking of Persona 5, when Persona 5 came out, you guys were sort of, I think at the beginning, were on board with kind of getting into the story, but then it started to become just annoying and stupid and frustrating, and then both you and Don gave up reading dialogue at some point.
Yep.
And it had to do with the quality of the translation, I think, at that time. But
no, it was because it was too much.
Oh, it was just
like over-explaining everything that happened.
Right. Yeah, you gotta rely on the non-text parts of the games, right? Like, that's you're seeing things too, right? You're seeing characters. I mean, with some of those games too, you can't really see facial expressions of the characters because they're so far, like, you're zoomed out so far, and so that misses a lot of the specifically that genre. You miss a lot of that. And I think, Persona 5 would be another one like that too. Like, you're not always seeing the characters' faces, are you? Well, I guess in the windows maybe, right?
In Persona, I think you do quite often. Yeah. That's one thing that I loved about the old 16-bit RPGs is that when they emoted, it was very clear to see what their emotion was, right? That's
right. And you could get away with less dialogue because of that.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's because there was limitations, and they sort of had to do both for sure. Like, characters jumping up and down in weird ways, or moving, like all sorts of the weird shit. Like Final Fantasy VI, is a big one where that happened a lot. But you got a lot out of that, I think. And it didn't seem silly.
It was a big deal when two characters moved onto one tile, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, something's gonna happen,
They're gonna kiss or get it on or something, right?
or someone's picking up a dead body, or
Yep.
something like that, right?
I always loved in like the old 16-bit RPGs, like a body would flash and then disappear, and that's how you knew they were dead.
Yeah, yeah, they're done. Yeah, emotion in RPGs is a tricky quality. I don't know if it's just rose-tinted glasses, but those older games.
I think
It's,
for me, it's just like the pace of the game, though. I'm so,
yeah.
so sick of waiting for people to walk somewhere and for hitting buttons between. Like,
Mm,
I find there's so many games. Yakuza is really bad for it. And I feel like Kiwami's worse than Zero for it. But the idea that when you have a screen of text and you hit X and then the window disappears and then a window comes back again and then you hit X again to get more text. Like, keep the window up, don't break through, and just let me keep pressing X
oh
so I can read it
yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
Like,
that's
don't
true. That
don't put pauses between shit. Let me
new
continue
windows
reading.
popping up.
Yep.
That's interesting because you're right. Like I would much prefer one window to be up and the text to be scrolling up. I could deal with a lot more text that way than to have a window kind of popping up, going away, popping up again, because it subverts your expectations. You're like, oh, we're done. Oh no, we're not done. Oh, we're done. I
Well,
can play again. Oh, we're not done. You know what I
and
mean?
even
Instead
something like
of
Persona, I think, was super guilty of, like, here's some text, and then we're gonna make the window go away, and then the character is gonna emote, and then the window is gonna come back, and then text is gonna come again. Like, I
yeah,
don't need to have
yeah,
just sweat drops coming out of the guy's head.
yeah,
Like, just have it running over text. You don't need
yes,
to force me to watch the stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I get it.
All right. It's like
And
all this stuff is too precious. You have to see
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You can't miss anything.
And so isn't the 16-bit idea like, don't just show me how they're feeling instead of having to spell everything out? And Persona, I think, really held your hand too hard.
Hmm. Show instead of tell, basically, as much as possible is the rule of thumb. I think that
Sure.
yeah,
That no one follows anymore.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's laziness.
what do you think about the way that Dark Souls and Bloodborne tells a story?
Yeah, that's the complete opposite. It's
Is it
hardly
is
any.
it too
It's
much in
almost
the
too
other
much.
direction?
Yeah, it is. I think it is.
I would agree.
A lot of people will disagree, but because that's what they want, right? They want that minimalistic. They want to root things out. They want to put the pieces together themselves, and that's great if that's all you play and you have a lot of time to play only that game. And those are the people that beat the game like 5 times, right?
Yeah, you got to get
But
super deep into it.
yeah. But then that's cool. I'm glad they have the game that they like, right? But for me, it's a little bit too sparse, and a little bit too terse. But not that I got to go back to it, but I got a good number of bosses into that game. There's still a lot left, so
Into
it's just
Bloodborne.
it's good. What?
Is it into Bloodborne?
But yeah, Bloodborne. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah, the bosses are great. Like every time you get to a boss and you conquer a boss, it feels really, really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I like that feeling. It's just you got to be in the right mode to want to tackle something like that each time you play. And I don't always have that level of energy that I want to devote towards a game. At the
How
end of the
about
day.
how about this as a topic? I bought a. So have we talked on the podcast about PSVR and 4K HDR?
We've talked about them separately, but
There's a problem with the pass through box or whatever it's called that you hook up to your TV and the PlayStation
mhm.
does not send through an HDR signal.
You mentioned this. Yeah, you mentioned this on the show before.
Yeah, so you can either play VR or you can have HDR, but you can't play games in HDR when the PSVR is hooked up,
Hmm.
which means that you're switching the HDMI
Yeah, that's
cable in the
stupid.
back of the
That's
PS4 on repeat, and it is driving me crazy. And I'm sure doing it often enough is not great for like the port either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did some research and I bought something called the Sewell IBIS HDMI bidirectional switch.
Oh,
So the idea is that you plug all your shit into this, and then you hit a button, and it switches between the two,
oh,
which is kind of good. Like, it sounds great, but then it came. And one thing I don't love about it is that you still have to put it on two different inputs,
uh-huh.
right? So one input on your TV will go to the PSVR and one input will go to the PS4, but at least you don't have to switch them. So I have to change the input and then hit this button and then I can use it as intended, right?
Right.
But it doesn't fucking work.
Oh.
Like it didn't send anything through. It was just a black screen.
Oh no.
And so I bought new cables and I haven't plugged in yet. Like you said about being lazy, trying to, what were you saying? You're lazy to, set up your new mic, right?
Yeah.
Like that. I'm too lazy to try it again. Like I took some time and it didn't work. And then I got pissed off. So I ordered a couple more like HDMI 2.0 cables and I just have to try to plug it in. So maybe it'll work after I use different cables. But as of right now, I just got a black screen. I was kind of pissed about it. So I should actually do it soon so I can maybe return it or contact them or something.
Right. Huh. Well, that's too bad. In any VR news for PS4, anything new?
I don't think so. Apparently,
Doom, right?
Yeah, sure. Apparently
Doom and other games.
I thought that Monster of the Deep came out in September, but it's November.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought for whatever reason I thought it was the third week of September, but it's not until November.
Oh, that's the big one on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think I heard what's it called? Rigs? I can't remember. The one that was free. Apparently it's good. People are saying that it's awesome.
Really? Okay.
That was my reaction. Okay. I haven't played it. I haven't touched it, but
I feel like there's more stuff that comes out for Steam for VR that it's too bad. Like PS4 is a little locked, a little bit more difficult.
Monster of the Deep is all that matters.
Yeah.
Actually, it'll probably come out too, won't it? Is Final Fantasy 15 PC yet?
It will be, yeah. Oh, here's some news that I didn't expect to hear. Doom and Wolfenstein 2 are coming out for the Switch. I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was that powerful.
There you go.
So that's cool. I mean, for people who haven't played Doom yet and they only have a Switch to play, like that's cool. Wolfenstein 2, I mean, I want to play that one. I don't know if I'll be playing it right when it comes out, but I definitely played the first one and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So that's it. Totally shocked because this is almost one of the first cases where a new game has come out that's also been on a Nintendo console when it launches, which is crazy to me.
Doom hasn't, it came out a couple of years ago.
No, Wolfenstein 2.
Oh, is that new?
Because that's, unless it's coming out a little after, but even if it's in the same, within 6 months, I'm still shocked because it's a modern AAA game that is launching on Nintendo and other platforms and PC. I've never, it's been years since anything, has it ever, how many times has that happened? You know what I mean? So that kind of says the Switch is more powerful than we give it credit for, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see how well it runs and what kind of resolution they're running it at. But yeah, that's kind of exciting. You got a Switch and you can play some AAA games for once.
I haven't touched Switch for a long time. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've played it since, I don't know,
Destiny.
start of August. No.
That's okay.
Yeah,
it's
no,
okay.
I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about not playing it.
It's yeah.
Do you know what else was kind of cool happened? I got an email this week. Do you know the Beat Goes On?
Yeah. Yeah, I got some
secondhand.
I got some CDs from got some Gandharvest CDs from them for cheap, and yeah, they're in good condition. 15
years ago?
No, last year.
Oh yeah.
I ordered them online and they shipped them to me, and they're $5 each. Both, yeah.
So the website's got a wish list. You can put a list of things that you would like, and then they'll send you an alert if that item comes in. And so I set it up years ago with here's some shit that maybe I would like to pick up, right? Things that are maybe I haven't seen very often, or
cool, yeah,
not easy to find.
Rare stuff, yeah.
So I got an email notification from the Beat Goes On this week.
Yeah, for what? I'm curious.
$8.99 plus tax.
Should I guess what it is?
Never guess. We can. Okay, here, 20 questions right now.
Okay, I'm assuming. Okay, so is it PS1 era?
Later. I'll tell you what. We won't go exactly 20 questions. I'll give you a better clue.
Little hints.
So later.
Okay. Is it PS2
era? Later.
Later. PS3 era.
Yeah.
PS3 era. Is it on PS3?
No.
Um, what else would it be?
Wii.
Wii. Okay. Um, Wii.
These are pretty good clues.
That's good clues. Is it RPG?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't
I
think so. I don't think so.
because there's some obscure RPGs for Wii.
Yeah, I think I played them all. Except for Opuna, because you won't let me take it.
I will.
I'm
You want
joking.
to play it?
No.
It's awesome. It's good. It's cool. Actually, you know who Jane? That could be Jane's first RPG.
Yeah, sure.
Totally could be. It's,
Mhm.
it's definitely yeah. So you're not sure if it's an RPG.
I don't think it is. I'm assuming that it's like action adventure game.
Oh, okay. Is it
It
Japanese?
shows you like how high priority it was on my list,
Japanese
right?
developed?
Yeah.
Square Enix?
The genre is action adventure game, beat 'em up platform game.
Oh. Action adventure beat 'em up platform game.
Square Enix, no. Publisher is Bandai Namco.
Oh. I'm never gonna get this.
It's got it's from a very popular franchise.
Wii, Bandai Namco. Very popular. Pokemon?
Not from Bandai.
Oh, not Bandai. Oh, who makes Pokemon again?
Nintendo, Game Freak.
Oh, Game Freak. Oh.
No, I mean franchise, like not video game franchise.
Oh. Dragon Ball, since that's your
It is a Dragon Ball game.
Okay, now I'm
Dragon Ball, Revenge of King Piccolo.
Oh, okay. That was underwhelming.
The reason why I picked this one up is because it's not Dragon Ball Z, is Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That's
this,
cool.
when I put it on my list, it must have been either when I was rewatching the first series. I think Fanny was probably pregnant with Jane when we watched it.
Oh.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's going to be any good. But I figure actually the reason why I wanted to pick this one up is eventually I'm going to watch that show with Jane.
Right.
And I think she'd be into the original one.
Mm-hmm.
This would kind of be a supplement for that. And apparently it's not terrible. Like I didn't get 90s or anything, but I think it's fun if you're a fan, and it's kind of like a cute little,
Yeah. I thought you were going to mention those two. For Wii, there was these two RPGs that came out.
Can I tell you which ones?
You can probably guess. Yeah.
Last Story and Pandora's Tower.
That's right. Those are the two.
I played both.
You did, eh?
Pandora's Tower was amazing.
Oh, really? I heard Last Story was the better one.
I thought Last Story was okay.
Pandora's Tower.
Pandora's Tower was really cool.
Oh. Who developed Pandora's Tower again?
Oh.
Who developed either one of them? Marvelous.
Yeah. What was it?
Marvelous. Yeah. Oh, both. They did Last Story as well? No, let me see.
But they published it. Pandora's Tower was Gambarion.
Mistwalker did Last Story.
There you go. Gambarion is like the studio that did like all the One Piece games and Jump Ultimate Stars and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Oh, yeah, they've done a lot of weird stuff. Marvelous.
So there you go.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if we have a whole lot else to talk about. To be honest, it was
really.
Destiny week, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see how it changes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of artificial if we insert another topic here, but I was thinking like items that one of my topics ideas was like, what was your favorite like exotic, legendary, unique item in any of these loot type games? Like what was your what has been your favorite of all time? If you have a favorite of all time?
No, I don't care enough.
No.
Like tell me yours, but I don't have any. I have absolutely nothing to say.
For it would have been Diablo 2 because I played the most of that.
Yeah.
And it was an item called Mara's Kaleidoscope. It was a unique amulet and it gave you +2 to all skills. Remember, everyone would always talk about the Stone of Jordan, the ring that you get in Diablo 2. That was the ring everyone wanted. This was like that, but I thought it was a better item. And I finally got it, like playing by myself, because I never played with anybody really except you guys. But people usually play online with Diablo 2. I always played on my own, so it was kind of more rewarding, right? When you find something on your own, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's why I played that game, right? It was more of a loot grind. Like I played that a lot just to try and grind for loot, and just so I could see it, because I'd heard about some of these items for so long. Because the drop rates in Diablo 2 were crazy low. Like if you compare to like any modern games now, like you're seeing a lot of items drop in Destiny 2, and I have a feeling like if you play a reasonable amount, you're going to be able to get most of those items. But some of the stuff in those older games, the drop rates are insano. Like things people would never find playing in like every day for like 10 years. Like that's how low some of the rates were. So you were meant to get them through other people, right? Like play online and trade with other people. But I wasn't playing the game in that way. So some of the stuff I would have never had a hope of finding, which made it more tantalizing in a way, right? Like as much as I don't like the idea of super low drop rates, it kind of is a cool, like that means it's much more unique if you did find something kind of cool. So what do you think about Destiny 2's drop rate and amount of like exotics and legendaries? Do you feel like it's you're getting them a little too often, or do you think that's the way it should be?
I don't know. It's hard. I always feel like there's nothing to really say about Destiny in the first couple of weeks other than here's the state of the game as it exists right now.
Yeah.
Like it still feels very beta-y.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Tough to comment on. Here's what I'm having fun with. Here's what I don't like. But as far as like currency or drop rates and stuff, I don't know.
Still
tough to talk about now because it'll all change,
Right, when they do expansions and stuff, I guess. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how things evolve, and I like what they have for a base. I think I was talking to Keenan the other day about that. I do like now I have gotten a little more of a taste. When before I was complaining about like, well, do you have a lot you can do with each character class? And I think there is, like, your loadouts really make a difference, and I've gotten attached to an exotic weapon, and I really like this specific weapon, and it's fun to use, and I like tweaking all the little things, and I feel like it makes enough of a difference, like which guns you have, and they're kind of like your abilities, and yeah, I don't know, and I mean you're with a group too, right? So as a base, I think it's in a really good spot, and I'm if they add anything to it with any expansion, like anything small, even, I think it has a potential to like just do that much more and be that much more enticing to me. So yeah, good. It's cool.
All right. Yep. Keenan was just busy this week, but he'll be back next week.
Yep.
There's always some stuff going on Facebook. Check that out. There's a Twitter account that posts stuff. I think Don uses it sometimes. So you can follow that. Now you gotta look for a link. I don't know what it's called. And if you want to play Destiny together, hey, shoot us up. Hit us a message. We'll let you join LCD.
We'll Sherpa you if that's the. I guess I don't know if that's a correct word.
After we figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, through other stuff, but yeah, no. Well, I was helping Keenan the other night playing to get his Mida multi-tool and some other stuff. So even that, like, if you don't know what to do and you just want to get it, it can be annoying. So I was just kind of
come talk to the expert, Tim.
Yeah, sure.
Destiny Pro.
Yeah. All
right.
right.
We'll talk to you next week.
See you later.